did you notice this hidden detail? Or what about this one? Well, I found the 24 most hidden details in Squid Game. Starting off with the time when Gi-hun wins that horse race bet in Season 1, Episode 1. He wins 4.56 million won. Now, pause, because that number isn't just random, it's the exact same number he ends up with, 456. But here's the wildest part. This is the exact number he later wins at the end of the Season 1, 45.6 billion won. The only difference is the number of zeros. Now, this is only the first out of the 24 hidden details in this video, and the last one will completely blow your mind. Now, did you know that all the deaths in Squid Game were foreshadowed in the very first episode? For example, Ali takes money from his boss early on, later he's betrayed by Sang-woo in a similar way. Deok-soo jumps off a bridge to escape, and eventually dies falling off the glass bridge. Se-byok threatens to slit a man's throat, and is killed in the exact manner. Sang-woo tries to take his own life early in the show, foreshadowing his tragic end. This hidden detail was so hard to find, so please consider subscribing to become a part of Bingeable. Anyways, not only deaths were foreshadowed in the series, even the games were foreshadowed way earlier. The walls of the player's dormitory actually have faint illusions of all the deadly games, from red light, green light, to the glass bridge. At first, they're barely noticeable, but as more players are eliminated and beds are removed, the drawings become clearer. Not only this, but the trend also continues in Season 2 as well, where we see even more illustrations like monkey bar, chess, and in the post-credit scene, train tracks indicating more future deadly games. You see in Season 1, Episode 2, Gi-hun requests the guard for chocolate milk because he's lactose intolerant. That's when number 001 says, "You're just like my son, he couldn't drink milk too." You might have ignored this, but I didn't. In Season 2, Episode 2, we see the front man giving milk to the pregnant girl saying, "I can't drink the milk anyway." This detail could hint that the two are blood related, which makes sense. In Season 1, the old man was the mastermind. In Season 2, it's the front man, and both shared the same player number as well, 001. Moving on in Episode 6, when Se-byok and Ji-hun are sharing their life stories, Se-byok tells her friend that she wants to visit Jeju Island. Ji-young then suggests that she visit somewhere like Hawaii or the Maldives instead, and have a mojito. It's a casual moment, but the mojito line is actually a nod to the film Inside Men, where it's famously delivered by actor Lee Byung-hun. The twist? Lee later appears in Squid Game as the mysterious frontman, making the reference a clever bit of foreshadowing. Now, this next small detail holds a big secret. While Gi-hun may survive the games, but not without consequences. Early on, he carelessly swears on his own mother's life while tricking Se-byok to trust him. In a cruel twist of fate, he returns home after winning, only to find his mother has died. In the first game, when chaos erupts and players are gunned down, player 001 is the first to step forward, calm and unfazed. It seems like dementia at first, but there's more to it. As the game's creator, he knew exactly what was coming. Another clue? When the doll scans for movement, 001 isn't highlighted as brightly as the others, suggesting he was never in real danger. There is another hidden secret related to 001. In Squid Game Episode 5, Jun-ho discovers files and past games, but the 2020 folder mysteriously starts with player 002. Player 001, Il-nam, is completely missing. The subtle detail hints at his true identity. He's not just a player, but the mastermind behind the games. In Season 1 finale, Gi-hun calls the number on the Squid Game card and mentions his birthday, October 31st, 1974. Fast forward to Season 2, Episode 2, and he learns that the salesman is recruiting new players at a Halloween party on October 31st, his birthday. In Episode 1 of Squid Game, all players are shown choosing the blue tile in the Daji game with the salesman, and the shocking part is that no one picks red. This subtly suggests the players unknowingly choose their fate. Blue suits like the game players? What if choosing red meant becoming a guard instead? However, in Season 2, Episode 3 of Squid Game, there is a hidden detail during the red light, green light game that 99% of viewers missed. When the frontman's screen is shown, it displays 3 bodies on the ground, suggesting 3 players were eliminated. But if you watch closely, only 1 player is actually shot at that moment. Player 196, also known as B-Girl. After the first tug-of-war match in Squid Game, a subtle but clever detail appears. A worker marks a coffin with a cross. It might seem like a Christian cross, but in Chinese, that cross means 10. This foreshadows the next game, Marbles, the 10th game in the overall sequence. But did you know, Squid Game ended up leaking a real phone number? When Gi-hun calls the frontman, the number shown on the card, it was a real working phone number of some random lady in South Korea. And of course, fans flooded her call log with a prank. 4,000 prank calls in a day, forcing Netflix to edit the scene. Anyways, this next tiny moment has a huge meaning behind it. The salesman's fate in Squid Game Season 2 was actually foreshadowed way back in Season 1. When Gi-hun meets the salesman first, he playfully points a toy gun at the salesman's head. It seemed harmless, but it hinted at how his story would end up with a real gun, in a deadly game of Russian roulette, with himself pulling the trigger. In Season 2, Episode 4, Hwang In-ko aka frontman uses his right hand while playing spinning tops and six legs. But here's the crazy part, he isn't even right-handed, as he used his left hand multiple times prior to this game. Like at the finale of Season 1, frontman shoots his brother precisely with his left hand, or even while drinking he only used his left hand. Now, this single frame reveals a lot more than you think. In the recruiter's first Russian roulette game with the loan sharks, if you look closely, you'll notice the bullet he loads is actually a fake one. You can tell because there's a visible indentation on the primer, meaning it had already been struck by a firing pin, so the gun had a 0% chance of firing. Then, in the second game where they load 5 bullets, the recruiter adds 3 more fake rounds and only 1 real bullet. You can tell the real one apart because its primer is still flat, showing it hasn't been used, and that means there was actually only 1 in a 6 chance of the gun firing. But why? Maybe the recruiter was just sadistic who enjoyed another's suffering. When the players ask Gi-hun where the game masters are, and he tells them up there, everyone looks up except In-ho. Only he's the one who doesn't even bother looking. Blink and you'll miss it. But the giant doll in red light, green light wears a tiny hair clip with a circle, triangle, and square symbols. Most players were too busy trying not to get shot to notice, but those shapes aren't random. They're the same ones used in Squid Game's logo and hint at the actual final game, shown briefly at the start of the series. Again, in Season 2, Episode 4, you can read something written in Korean above the entry gate. These words translate to being strong, brave, and persistent, but in South Korea, these words are often used in physical education classes or other sporting events to encourage kids to do their best, but in Squid Game, these words give a much more darker message. You see, in Season 1, Episode 2, when Ali asks where is Uedu, it quietly shows how limited his world is. He's unfamiliar with Seoul's financial hub, likely staying near Ansan, where he lives and works. He also calls Sang-woo boss. Later, Sang-woo tells him to use Hyung, meaning older brother, a sign of trust. That's what makes Ali's final moment calling out Hyung in betrayal. But did you know Squid Game may have been inspired by a real-life incident? Back in 1986, eerie photos surfaced from a bunker in the no man's land between North and South Korea. According to reports, people were allegedly held captive and forced to compete in brutal games, where survival was the only prize. The resemblance is chilling. It's no wonder Squid Game feels so disturbingly real. The constant form in Squid Game uses the word eliminated, which in English can mean kill. But in Korean, the word used is taluk, which simply means to fail or drop out of a competition, nothing deadly. That subtle difference explains why the players didn't fully grasp the danger when they signed the form. Even though Squid Game became Netflix's most watched series of all time, it was almost never made. For over a decade, creator Hwang Dong-hyuk was rejected by studio after studio. They said the idea was too bizarre or just wouldn't work, but Hwang Dong-hyuk kept refining the script, drawing inspiration from real-world economic struggles and social inequality. Now, these were the hidden details in Squid Game. If you want to know about the hidden details in Stranger Things, then click on this video.